Can you hear me? All right, okay.
Yes, yeah.
Apologize for the lack of a timer, and thank you to Carrie for stepping up.
So bear with me.
She hasn't done it before.
No.
Welcome. I am Luann Hurdloff, a trained moderator and member of the League of Women Voters Park Rapids area. The League of Women Voters Park Rapids area is proud to be nonpartisan, neither supporting nor opposing candidates or political parties at any level of government, but always working on vital issues of concern to members and the public. Please read more about League in your program. Thank you for attending tonight's event. Our District 3 Hubbard County Commissioner candidates are Teresa Walsh and Tom Kruger. Thank you all for taking time to be with us. Thanks also to our member volunteers, and especially to Northwoods Bank for providing the meeting space. We have a statement on candidate forum recordings. This was more for legislative races than local, but I'll read it. The League of Women Voters sponsors candidate forums to provide the public with an opportunity to hear candidates discuss the issues that are important to members of the public. The views expressed in each forum are those of the candidates, not those of the League of Women Voters. League posts complete, unedited recordings of forums. Editing is authorized only for official media reporting. Excerpts or edited clips of candidate forums may not be used for partisan political purposes. This forum is also being recorded by the Park Rapids Enterprise as well as the League. And the League video will be posted to YouTube. Candidates receive ground rules for this event. As audience members, we ask you to remain as quiet as possible so that everyone may hear. Also, please hold any applause until the forum has ended so candidates can use all their time to answer your questions. The League will determine which questions will be asked and will attempt in good faith to cover areas of interest expressed by the audience. Questions will be screened and similar questions will be consolidated so as many topics as possible can be covered. Only questions related to the City Council, County Commissioner's role will be asked. No questions of a personal nature or that are inappropriately hostile or unclear in intent will be asked. It is our goal to have a civil discussion of the issues and give you information you need to know when you vote. During the event, please raise your hand if you have a question for volunteers to pick up. Although we have a pretty good sized stack here already. We will start the forum with the opening statements. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for their opening statement and 2 minutes for a closing statement at the end. And they will have 1 minute to answer each question. So let's get started. And we'll have Tom go first. I'm an alphabetical order person.
Well, thanks for coming, everyone. Turn this on.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for coming, everyone. Can you hear me?
No, a little closer, right in.
Yeah, my name is Tom, and I'm seeking a second term as the Hubbard County Commissioner in District 3. I have a broad range of skills and life experiences that have given me the capability to bring fresh, creative ideas to the table. As an adult, it began with 4 years in the Navy working as a parachute rigger. After my discharge, I received a degree in forestry from Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College in Tifton, Georgia. Following graduation, I began my working career with International Paper Company at their former research center, where I assisted a forest geneticist in breeding southern pines for faster growth, straightness, and disease resistance. Following my dreams of one day returning to the place of my roots, which is Minnesota, my wife and I left our jobs in 1989 and moved to Minnesota. In 1990, we purchased Sunny Point Resort on Second Crow Wing Lake. Over the years, we replaced all but one of the original cabins, doing much construction work myself. When we then converted the resort into a residential planned unit development, I became a licensed realtor and sold my own units along with other properties. I was first appointed to the Hubbard County Planning Commission in 1999, which now is combined with Board of Adjustment. I've chaired that board numerous times. More recently, I've been County Commissioner for District 3, and for almost 4 years, where I serve in the following committees: Mojave Outlaw, Parks Board, Kitchigami Regional Library, Soil and Water Conservation District, Mental Health Board, Planning Commission, and following internal committees, which includes employee benefits, personnel, safety, and labor negotiations.
7 seconds left.
Teresa?
Oops.
Oops.
Better put it on mute, so.
I just said, okay, cancel. I'm not really sure what's going on with this. There we go. Okay, you can start.
Hello, my name is Teresa Walsh. A little bit of my background is, a year ago I retired after 36 years of service as an employee of Hubbard County. I started out in Hubbard County in social services as a clerk and worked there for 5 years. And then I went to the county assessor's office and worked 2 years there. And I was a licensed Minnesota assessor while I was working there. And I also then was hired as a financial director over at Heritage Living Center for 21 years. And then I ended my Hubbard County career in the coordinator's office HR department. I held the title as assistant coordinator, HR assistant, and then HR specialist. I have a bachelor's degree in public administration from St. Cloud State University, and I also have a minor in accounting and a minor in economics. My background in finance and accounting really, to me, is my strong suit. It definitely is not public speaking. But also in the public area, I've been in Park Rapids since 1984. I married a local boy. He has retired from logging, and his 92-year-old father is retiring, or has retired in August from logging. So there's a rich history of Walshes in Hubbard County. I volunteer for St. Peter's Catholic Church. I bring communion to our nursing home residents and also an assisted living facility in Park Rapids. I enjoy hearing their stories of Hubbard County and Park Rapids and what they love about this community, and it gives me great joy to serve them. I also, in my church, was a trustee, a member of the finance committee, a member of the pastoral committee. Thank you. I didn't see the sign, the 30-second sign.
Okay.
You're okay.
All right.
All right, we'll start with the questions, and what we're gonna do is alternate.
Okay.
So, Tom, I'll start with you. And then it'll be Teresa. And the next question will go the opposite. Hopefully I won't lose track. Okay. So the first question, well, what issues motivated you to run for county commissioner? Or run again, as the case may be?
Okay, there's a lot going on in the county right now. One of them is Deep Lake Park. I just heard today that we got the status, a high status for regional parks designation, which is going to give us a chance of better grants and having with my natural resources background and education. That's an area that I'd like to see that through to completion. That's one of the reasons I decided to run again, because I think that's a great opportunity for Hubbard County. Another one is it's a pretty difficult decision that the county or the board has been working on. So far, we're at everything's been a 5-0 vote on it, and that has to do with the Heritage campus. I personally want to see that open, but at the same time, whether to sell it or to keep it by the county rules. Goes fast.
It does.
It does go fast.
Okay, Teresa, you need me to repeat the question,
No,
or you
you
good?
wanted the issue.
Yep.
The number one issue that I decided to run for Hubbard County Commissioner is basically finance. I love digging into financials. I love to know where the funding sources are coming from, who's responsible for those taxes. And I know the saying that it's taxes somewhere, but if it's a competitive funding and we're competing against Beltrami County, I want to make sure we get those tax dollars instead of another county or neighboring county. So I like to dig into finances and find out how things are being spent and why they're being spent, and if there's another source of funding for us to help alleviate any of the property taxes that we're paying. Thank you.
Okay. What is your strategy to inform yourself about a problem? Where do you look for information and possible options to solve it? Teresa, we'll start with you.
Well, with anything, I like to go to the source of the problem or the source of the issue. Fortunately, I do know all the director or the department managers by name. Some of the new department managers, I was only employed for about a couple more months before I retired, but I have no problem going up to any of the managers and find out what those issues are. Why they believe it should be one way, and I like to ask the tough questions. And basically, I want to know what the purpose and the benefit would be for the residents of Hubbard County, and basically, I'd go to the source. If they don't have the answer, then I go on the computer and find out what I can by Googling things and see if I can talk to someone else. Thank you.
Okay, I have several strengths, and one of them is asking questions. You know, I'm pretty good at that, and then the other one is listening. So I know every department head by name, and also I go to them and ask them whatever questions are necessary to find out what the problem is and learn about it, and then just listen to what they say. And you know, I value their input very much. I value everybody's input who comes to the county board meetings. And then, oh, I forgot about that. Anyways, I listen to people. I could probably do more listening than talking.
Okay. Tom, you'll be first this time. What do you see as the greatest challenge in Hubbard County?
Right now, the big challenge is, and it's beyond our scope. You know, it's at the federal level, and that, you know, it has to do with inflation. You know, the price of everything is going up a lot. Price of gas is up, and you know that's going to deeply affect our budget. That's, you know, we come out with a preliminary levy. We know it's at 19%. Of course, 10% of that is for Enbridge and capturing that, but the other 9%, you know, we're still in negotiation with wage and labor, and hopefully we can work it out. We originally was proposed at 20%, and I managed to get the board to go down to 19, but I hope to go down maybe another 1 or 2%, because it's going to affect the taxpayers a lot.
Teresa?
Are you ready?
Yep, go.
I do want to thank Tom for his motion to bring it down to 19%. I did watch that meeting, and you can watch all the meetings online. But to go on a different direction, I think it is our youth and making sure that they have jobs that they can go to and that they can afford housing. I've been watching the housing market for the last couple of years, trying to figure out, of course my daughters are in the home buying age, what could be affordable to them. And I really feel that in this day and age that buying a house as a young starting out couple or single person is very difficult. So working with HRA, trying to get grants or whatever help loans that are available out there for our young people and our older people too, is very important. Thank you.
Okay.
Next question is, I'm gonna reword it a little. What role do you think county government should play in healthcare for its citizens? Is there, I would say, is there a role for the county to play in healthcare for its citizens? Teresa, you be first.
That one's a little bigger than beyond our borders, but just dealing with Medicaid. In Hubbard County, we're part of the Prime West purchasing group for making more economical availability for our citizens who are on what used to be known as Medicaid. We have been fighting a good fight to be able to keep that, purchasing with that. So I believe our county role would be to make sure that we're still doing as much as we can for our Medicaid qualifying individuals and healthcare in that realm. Thank you.
Yeah, that one's a bit above our heads on it, but there are some ways I think we can help. I think being a veteran, I think one, we do have a veteran service officer, and when a veteran comes in there and has issues looking for help, Jerry, he knows where to send them, like the VA hospital, and also they got a new home opening up in Bemidji. So those are two areas for veteran, or an area for veteran. Another way maybe is help citizens when in educating them and signing up for medical insurance online. You know, the ones that are provided by state, federal. Yeah, insurance. Okay. That's what I meant, insurance.
Okay.
Well, this is on a lot of people's minds.
Okay, Tom's turn first.
Yeah, it will be. And there's kind of two related questions here. I think I'll ask them one after another so you can answer the first and then follow up for the second. What is your opinion of selling the Heritage Nursing Home to a nonprofit versus a for-profit company?
So we go with that one, and then we ask
Yep.
another one.
Yeah.
I would prefer a nonprofit, and at the same time, I would like to see be able to have a chance to review the company that they're selling to, because I would want to see the history of success there. If we can't get the right firm to purchase this thing, then I'm all for the county to maintain ownership, but just under new management.
Okay, all right. Same question for and then we'll follow up.
In regards to selling the nursing home to a profit or nonprofit, I definitely would go nonprofit. More of the dollars are spent on the staff and less in worried about getting a profit margin for the new owners. We always want to have a positive profit, for sure. But when you have to cut out some of the dollars that you need to hire people, good people, professional people, your nonprofit would be the way to go.
Okay, and the follow-up would be,
Okay.
it says here, Heritage Living Campus is up for sale without any bids for purchase. What would you do to make the nursing home and assisted living viable, self-sustaining, and a provider of excellent long-term care? In other words, is it possible to keep it and make it viable, do you think?
With the campus, probably in the late 90s when they added the Park Villa, and then the Heritage Manor, and then later the cottages, which is your memory care unit. The idea was to diversify. And those non-long-term care businesses would sustain the skilled nursing facility, which is known as Heritage Living Center. Ran into a brick wall with COVID. Nursing homes are not designed to make a profit, and that's intentional by the state of Minnesota. Medicaid is notorious for under-reimbursing nursing homes for their care. And so nursing homes are very creative in how to make a bottom line, how to make a profit by offering other services. I tip my hat off to anybody working in long-term care. They are very dedicated and hardworking people.
Got it, turn my speaker down.
Okay, Tom, you want to tackle that one?
Yeah, when I was searching for a resort to buy, the first thing that I would look for or ask for is their financials, because I wanted a resort that was profitable, or I wasn't going to touch it, or at least one that has potential of becoming profitable. And I think for the nursing home campus, they need to get that. It would sell better if it was, you know, at least break even and show the potential of doing even better. So yeah, possibly that needs to, if right now it's not very good conditions for selling it, if it's necessary for the county to own it a little bit longer until it is more viable, then I guess we could do that.
Okay. You'll get first with the next one.
What are the priorities for the next budget for the sheriff's department and jail? Is that the biggest part of the county budget, is that correct? Biggest share
Did you say the sheriff's department and the jail?
and jail?
Okay, just say that.
What are the priorities for the next budget for the sheriff's department and jail?
Okay. Yeah, it's the sheriff's department makes up a pretty large percent of the budget, as you know. And I am strong on law enforcement, so I want to make sure they're adequately funded. I'd say, and a jail is at 85% capacity or greater, which is considered full. I think priority would be making sure repeat offenders, you know, they pay the consequences for what they do, so they put them in jail. But we need to look at the rehabilitation side of it too. A program like Adult Teen Challenge that has a greater than 80% success rate. You know, get things like that, or halfway house where people can have counselors there and have peer groups and have accountability to each other. You know, I think we need to approach it from the rehabilitation side too.
Tackle that one.
I also like to back the blue, as the phrase is known as. I know there were talk of having a social worker when a person is released from jail to help them find a home, to help them get a job, to help them get back into society. The problem is bigger than our law enforcement. It is almost societal, the breakdown of the family. So how do we get our fellow citizens to realize that there's value in the family, value in raising your children, and it's hard work. For the budget purposes, we have to man the jail to our need, and as we arrest more citizens or more lawbreakers, we need those jailers to take care of them.
Oh,
I thought that first thing was
yeah,
the
I
time
did
off.
too.
I'm sorry.
But these sellers on.
Sorry.
Okay, you'll be first.
Okay.
These are not easy questions. What would be your plan for protecting water quality and quantity, and how would you work through state planning efforts such as the watershed that have been developed by soil and water conservation districts and other governmental bodies?
Well, being in Hubbard County and you're a big draw to this area is your tourism, They're not going to come here and visit us if our lakes are polluted. The zebra mussel problems are, beyond our control. So my plan would be to work through our soil and water conservation districts and assist them where possible. And for me, it's more of an education. I would probably start attending on my own meetings and that are open to the public to get the nitty-gritty on those topics. I personally do what I can to reduce, reuse everything I do. So as I'm drinking from this plastic water bottle, I gotta recycle it. Thank you.
Well, natural resources is right up my alley. That's why when we became commissioner, I immediately volunteered to be on the Soil and Water Conservation District as the county's liaison. They work on water quality. I think the watershed, one watershed, one plan is a very good idea. And that's why the previous board had voted to get out of it, but we got ourselves back into it, which is where it should be. So I serve also on the Leech River one, and then we got another one coming up, the Crow Wing Watershed one plan. And I'll be the commissioner on that one if I'm reelected. And I think that's going to be a really good one because I can give an example of the high waters on Beltane Lake. That should be that ought to be in the Crow Wing one, and that should be one of the implementation items on priority and get people involved on Beltane and also downstream from there. So yeah, I sure would like to be a part of that.
Okay. Yeah, I know, it feels quick. But that way we get to cover all these interesting subjects.
What would it take to get property tax evaluations stabilized, and how would you lobby the state legislature to help Hubbard County residents with large increases in property taxes? Perhaps this question is looking ahead to your 19% increase.
I'm first?
Yeah.
Yeah, my own property taxes are going to go up 44% next year, so I feel your pain on that. What can we do about it? Because it's based on sales. Maybe we should stop growing so much, but that's not the answer. More tax relief would be help. Maybe through property tax refund that we get on our tax statements. That would be a good way to lobby the state to get more of that. But I'd like to remind voters that just because, like in my case, it went up 44%, my property taxes probably won't go anywhere near that. So don't be fearing that full amount.
Okay, Teresa.
Working in the assessor's office, you have to apply values as the market is supporting them. Unfortunately, it hit the residential side more than commercial. So our residential property taxes will be affected far greater than our commercial taxes. We used to have levy limits. I don't really want to ask the legislature to do levy limits because it ties your local hands if you wanted to do something more in your community. But there used to be levy limits that I suppose we could ask our legislators for that. I kind of don't like refunds because I rather have the money relief at the front end than have to ask for money back. So I would probably want to encourage more of the homestead credit, the homestead inclusion to maybe be a higher value than just $76,000.
There's a couple of yes or no questions here. So you can either keep your answers to a yes or no, or you can elaborate as you wish. Do you want to keep the county sales tax? Yes or no?
The extra 0.5%, that one. Yes,
That's what they do.
that allows us to do a lot more with our roads and our highway department. It's been very beneficial to us. And because we are a heavily tourist area, we're getting people from outside of our county helping us out with that.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah, my answer is most definite yes, because like last year, we had budgeted, I believe, and they were 900,000 for that, ended up being 1.2 million. That goes a long way to helping maintain our county roads. And, you know, we do have a lot of logging operations, we have tourists using it, so we'll get money from that, but, you know, our roads are pretty heavily used, we can use that money, and it helps keep our property taxes lower.
This one is just, do you support the county fair? Is the county, maybe you could explain how that's financed?
Yes.
Yes, I do support the county fair. My wife and I, we go to it every year. I enjoy always looking at the animals and seeing what the 4-H kids have put together there. I'm sure, and that's a good program. I definitely believe in the extension program, 4-H, and that the county should continue supporting that. I'm not on the fair board. I don't know all the details of what goes into managing it, but however the county can support it, I'm all for it.
I also love the county fair. I spend a lot of money at the county fair, bringing my grandchildren there. We love going through the barns. We like to see that 4-H program growing. For a while there, about 10, 15 years ago, it kind of dwindled. They got a new 4-H leader there, and she was very motivational, and she's back, Mary Jo.
Oh,
And so we saw a great increase in the number of 4-H participants, and hopefully under her leadership again, that'll continue to grow.
Well, okay, some more new questions here. Would you consider supporting an operating referendum to fund the Heritage Living Center? Supporting, so I think that question would be maybe allowing county taxpayers to vote on whether they would support additional revenue? Like, that's what happens when the school does referendum, so I think that's what this question might relate to. Teresa, you be first on that one.
I think it's important that our county residents do have a voice in that, and I would be in support of a referendum. And then that would help guide the commissioners on what more than just the squeaky wheel thinks. So I would be in favor of a referendum to find out what our residents want.
Yeah, that's a difficult one. I really am not very much in favor of a referendum on it unless the people who are going to be voting on it are really well educated in all the details of operating the Heritage Living Center, how they got to the finances where they are now. So I think before having a referendum, there would need to be a lot of education of the public going into it first.
Okay. Well, this might fit then. How do you or will you communicate with your constituents and get feedback from them? You first.
Well, if it was on something like a referendum on for voting, then the best way is to hold public meetings on it. Or either that, or just meet with the public in a situation like this, start explaining things. I would definitely seek the help of other commissioners for something like that. But I do get, as far as getting feedback on other topics from my constituents, I do get calls and emails. I respond quickly to them, and a lot of times things get done that way. I I can give one example of a dilapidated building on Long Lake that had one constituent complain that it was so close to them and there were dead animals in there, so that got torn down. So we can get things done that way.
Can you repeat the question?
How will you communicate with your constituents and get feedback from them?
Well, right now I'm a private citizen like anyone else who can run for an office. As I go around and talk to people, I ask questions. I find out a lot of things that way. But as a county board, they certainly could hold hearings and take public input for a 30-day period or a 60-day period or whatever the state requires a county board to do, and take it from there.
Okay. What is your vision for the future of Hubbard County? What changes would you advocate?
My vision for Hubbard County would be, it would be the place you'd want to live, want to raise your family, want to grow older in, and want to retire here, except for the 40 below in January. But that means we would have a law enforcement that arrested criminals for when they broke crimes. We'd have a just public prosecutor, and that we'd also have health care. I'm just thrilled that we still have a hospital here in the size of our town. I grew up in a small town and we had a hospital. I was born there and it closed because the town was too small. I was thrilled to move to Park Rapids when I met my husband, and there was a hospital so we could have our children here. We could go to the emergency room here. I want a strong healthcare system here. Basically, even through nursing home care.
Yeah, my vision, I look at myself as being a law and order commissioner. I like to see, Hubbard County be a safe place to live. Not to where someone's afraid to go out on the streets and, that they're going to be mugged or anything like that. So definitely support law and order, and I'd like to see a good quality of life. And I think this projects like the Velsotel property, which is now going to be called Deep Lake, hopefully regional park. We've got a high rating on that, but things like that improves the quality of life in Hubbard County. We have nice trails there, places to camp, and then we'll have a lot of visitors coming in. Mountain bike. There's people who like to do mountain biking, and trails to walk on.
Hubbard County has always had a very good turnout for elections and rarely has found any contested votes, etc. As a county commissioner, how will you support the auditor and her staff during elections from all the misinformation about elections? You're first.
I'm first.
Yeah.
Let's see, I've been on the canvassing board at the last election, and I personally saw from the results that they fell in line with how the polling was going. So I definitely supported how things turned out there. I think Kay was doing a good job with that. Of course, I can't be on the canvassing board this year because I'm on the ballot.
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
I might be working in HR, in the physical office where I was located, and that's Human Resources. It's right by the auditor's office. I witnessed firsthand the testing. I'm not allowed in the room that's tested, but I I am aware of the testing of the machines that the auditor's office conducts. I know the people that do the testing. They're trustworthy, honorable people. Sandy Rickers has been in the auditor's office as the chief deputy auditor for many years, and I know and trust her. Kay Rave, I know and trust her. We live in a small town. Fortunately, we know people, and we can trust our auditor's office. Supporting her and her staff in the monumental task that they're asked to do. I'm behind her all the way. And get out and vote.
Do we have any other questions? I have one more.
How do you work with people who hold different views from you?
I think I have to go first.
Yes.
I'm a middle child. I make compromises all the time, and if you read anything about middle children, they're the peacemakers, they're the compromiser. I like to listen to people's opinions, and I like to have a good, healthy discussion. I don't agree with everybody all the time, and they don't agree with me, but you always are respectful of their opinions, and go from there.
Yeah, like I had stated earlier, I'm a listening kind of person more than I am a speaker. So I'll listen to people. And I've been persuaded to change the viewpoints that I've had sometimes. So I'm open. I got an open mind. And I'm not set. I hope I'm not set in my ways. Maybe my wife. Say more on that. But yeah, listening to people and respecting them. And valuing each person, being kind to each other, even if we differ with each other. We don't have to be jumping at each other. We can be kind.
Okay. We will, so now we'll go to the 2-minute wrap-up.
All right.
And we'll have, let's here, Tom go first.
The woman will get the last word.
Okay, well, I have enjoyed being your commissioner in District 3. I hope to be able to do it for 4 more years because it's a job that I enjoy doing. It's not always easy, but I see it as a good way to give back to my community, by serving others. I think the current board gets along well together. We don't always agree, but we do have quite a few 5-0 votes. If we did 5-0 votes all the time, that to me would not be a good thing. We got to have different opinions, but we get along well together. And there's much to do. We talk about the Heritage Campus. I definitely want to see that stay open, whether it's through a sale or county continues to open it. I mentioned Deep Lake Park. I'd like to see that up and running. Use my knowledge base and natural resources on the Crow Wing One Watershed, One Plan. Getting it through the planning stages and into implementation. Working on long-term capital improvements because we get approximately $1.6 million from the Enbridge capturing that will go into that. So we will have capital improvement dollars there. And then just continuing to bring the citizens of Hubbard County the best services possible.
I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting our conversation. I also like to thank Tom for serving Hubbard County as a commissioner, in addition to the other committees that he's been on. It's not an easy task, and what we ask our commissioners to do, we should thank each and every one. The reason I'm running, of course, is because I think I can serve you for more years. I have served you for 36 years in different departments of Hubbard County. I know how they run. And now I'm asking for you to let me help serve you for another 4 years. I'm really concerned about human resources, which is our recruiting of good quality people, and then the retention. You see everywhere all the help wanted signs. I want Hubbard County to be able to compete with everyone else and bring you staff members that are courteous and can help you what you need to do to continue your lives. Heritage Living Center is deep in my heart. I worked there for over 2 decades. I served many family members of our residents, and our residents are so interesting. We had some former FBI agents as residents, and to hear their stories, just fabulous. And I continue serving our seniors by, of course, giving communion from St. Peter's Church into 2 of our senior facilities in our community, and I love visiting with them. And we even debate politics. It's so enjoyable. So I'm asking for your vote and your support so I can serve you. Thank you.
Before I read our little closing here, I want to introduce 2 current county commissioners, Shar Christensen and David Delahunt. And thank you for being here also. And thank you everyone for attending our forums. We will send out the links to the videos of all the forums by Monday, is that right? Please share the links with friends, neighbors, etc. For more information about all the candidates on your ballot, please visit vote411.org. This website is run by League of Women Voters US and has all voting information in one place, including to check if your voter registration is up to date and links to candidates' websites. Early voting started last Friday and the last day to vote is November 8th, so please vote. Thank you.
Thank you.